Okay, so with Hashem's help, tonight we are going to finish Likutey Moharan Torah Aleph, which is really a huge achievement. We've been working on this for 3 weeks, which is amazing. Really pushing ourselves to understand the Tzaddik's Torah, the concepts that he's trying to explain to us, the light he's trying to bring down, the vessels he's trying to create. So there's a lot going on in this first Torah. And again, I just want to thank you that we've been able to do this together. These first 3 weeks have been amazing and so special, and I can't wait to see where this goes from here. But even just to be able to say I did one Torah in Likutey Moharan with my good friends and my brothers, I hope it was as sweet for you as it is for me. And we'll do a quick review, and then Bezrat Hashem will finish it tonight. So it's like this. Rabbi Nachman says that the whole reason we don't get our prayers answered is because we're not humble. And humility is the essence of a Jew. It's our malchut. It's our kingship. Our kingship is actually that we are humble. And therefore, when we are not humble, which again, what does humility mean? It means we realize that everything is from Hashem. That's what humility is. Humility doesn't mean that you disregard reality or your own reality. Humility means that you understand clearly what everything is and where it comes from. Like Rav Nachman's going to say later on that Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the one who wrote he was the most humble man who ever lived. So how did Moshe write that if he was so humble? And the answer is because humility doesn't mean denying reality. It means being very, very clear on what reality is and knowing where it comes from, that it's not your own. So we're saying that the essence of a Jew is to be humble, meaning he knows that everything comes from Hashem. That's the reason our prayers are not getting answers, because we haven't attained that level of humility yet. What causes that level of humility? So we learn the secret is learning Torah b'koach, to learn Torah with joy, to learn Torah with enthusiasm, to learn Torah even when it's difficult to learn Torah with a loud voice. And somehow this amazing spiritual psychological mechanism breaks the foreskin of the Jewish heart, which is really not us at all. It is the ego which Hashem gave us in order to nullify. So it is the thing that's standing in the way of our true connection with Hashem. And learning Torah with enthusiasm, with joy, with energy, allows you to break that. Once you do that, then you are now a vessel to receive the light of the Ein Sof, the light of Hashem, which is the source of all good, of all joy, of all peace, of all love, of all connection, of all unity, of everything that you're looking for. It comes from this light which is called Chokhmah. Chokhmah is the light of Hashem, which is hidden within every person, within every event, within every situation, within everything. Like it says that Hashem created everything b'chokhmah, but there's no way to recognize Hashem in anything unless you have created this vessel, which is called the letter Nun, which is humility. That is done through learning Torah b'koach. And we said that the only way to figure out how to learn Torah b'koach and what Torah to learn b'koach, so that you need Yosef for. For that you need the tzaddik. Because Yaakov Avinu, who is the archetypal Jew, meaning he's the one who mapped out for us how do you get your prayers answered. It's with chen. It is with humility, and through that humility to be able to perceive Hashem in everything. And he gave that blessing over to all of his sons. But only one of them was capable of then giving it over to anyone else, and that was Joseph. Because like Rav Nachman says, before the tzaddik exists in the world, then anyone can find Hashem, and you don't need anyone to help you. But once the tzaddik exists, then the only way to find Hashem is through the tzaddik. And we see here now that with Yosef, there is no way to find Hashem without Yosef, in truth. Because he's the only one who can give you chen. So for us, Rav Nachman is Yosef. So Yosef is the one who's teaching us all of these things, okay? Therefore, the same humility that we have to have and the same respect and reverence that we have for Hashem, we have to have the same exact reverence and respect and hope for Rav Nachman. And now we're going to go into a Rabbi Bar Rachana's story. So for those who don't know, there is a section above a Batra, which is a Masechet in Gemara, that has these very mysterious stories that are given down by Rabbi Bar Bar Chana. And these stories are seemingly, I don't know if this is a word, but ununderstandable. They are very difficult to wrap your mind around. And therefore, many people just skip over them when they get to them because you don't even know what they're doing there, okay? However, Rabbi Nachman had a dream one night, and Rabbi Bar Bar Chana came to him in the dream and told him, by the way, Nachman, my beautiful little Nachman, listen to me. These stories that everybody passes over, it's a big mistake. I have so many mysteries in these stories, so many secrets of creation. There's so many wondrous teachings in these stories. So don't pass over them. And if you look and you learn, you'll find them. And Rabbi Nachman, as a result, he created the first 18 Torahs of Likutey Moharan based on those stories, okay? So now we're going to do the first Rabbi Bar Bar Chana story. And we're going to see how every single thing that we learned so far is actually within the story. And he's going to add a very important element that we have not discussed yet. And this is really the last yesod of the Torah. This is the last foundational element that we have to understand because it's so important and so practical and so easy to trip up on. This is the explanation of what Rabbi Bar Bar Chana said. Hi Gala, the matba lisfinta mitchazeki tzutzita denora hivarta beresha. There was a wave that was threatening to sink a ship. Mitchazeki tzutzita denora hivarta beresha. And I saw that there was a spark of a white flame at the top of its crest. So everybody just imagine now, there is a boat, it's in the water, there is a wave coming, which looks like it's going to sink the ship. And on the top of the wave, there is a crest with a flame. The crest means the tip of it, the reshit, the top of it. And in there you have what looks like fire. And it looks like it's going to sink this ship. What does the Rashbam say? Rashbam is a commentary who is one of the few people who try to understand what Bar Bar Chana is talking about. And he says here, Eish levana malach maziku. This white fire that's at the top, it's not a good one. It is a destroying angel. It is a negative force within the spiritual cosmos, which is looking to sink this ship. Umachinan le, ba'avata dechakika le. We beat it with the staff, and that staff had etched on it, Eker Asher Eker. I will be that I will be. Okay? So this is an awesome story. Does anybody understand how everything we learned so far for the past 3 weeks is in this story? No? Okay, good. Humility and honesty is very important. However, it is fun, by the way. As these Torahs go on, you should try, as you see the story, to try and link up everything you learned and see if you could fit it in. If nothing else, it's very humorous after you see how much you messed up and whatever, but you'll see, okay? So he says like this. What's the Gala? What's this wave? A Yetzer Hara. The wave that was coming to sink the ship is your Yetzer Hara. The matba lisfinta, and it was coming to sink the ship. Hu achen v'chashivut. Lashon safun v'chashuv. This is your chen. This is your essence. This is what makes you Jewish. That's the boat that was being threatened to be sank. So what do we have here? We have your essence, the thing you've been looking to connect to your whole entire life, which is the key to all joy, happiness, blessing, and peace. It is going through in your life, and all of a sudden there is a wave that's coming. And notice when a wave comes, you usually can't see past the wave, even though there's many things past the wave. And the wave comes up, and Rav Nachman says, this wave is the Yetzer Hara. It is the part of yourself which has been concealing your essence, and it looks like it's going to completely sink who you really are. Your Sfinta, your Safun, what makes you special, what makes you the son of the king. Ki hayetzer hara rotzeh lagbiya uhashpil chas v'shalom bechinat hachen v'hachashivut shel Yisrael. Because the Yetzer Hara, what is its desire? What does it actually want to do? What is the purpose of the Yetzer Hara? He is looking and desiring to sink and to cause to fall your essence. Meaning, he wants you to go into exile. He wants the true you, the you who you've always been looking to connect to, the you which you've always known is there, but you never knew how to get in touch with it, the you that you're searching for your whole life, that you feel inside of you could be the cause of all good, but you just don't know how and you don't have the strength to get there. That part of you is called your boat, your essence. And the Yetzer Hara is sent into this world only to cause that part of you to be completely hidden from yourself in the world. So you see, you have a very big battle on our hands. There is this wave that's constantly coming and has only one desire, and that's to put your soul into exile, to make you think that you're no different than any other person walking this planet, that you were born a monkey and you turned into a person, that you have no chelek in Olam Haba, that you have no purpose for actually being here, besides the fact that you are an accident or a mistake. And now we can look at all the Jewish people in the world and we see 80% of people, their boat has been sunk by the wave, at least temporarily. That they have no idea that they're Jewish and what that means, what their essence is. And even within the religious community, you still have many people who their boat is being sunk or being threatened to be sunk. So we're all in this story. Every single one of us is dealing with this every single day. Bechinat Malchut de Kedusha. Because your essence is called the Malchut de Kedusha, the kingship of holiness. What does that mean? What is it that makes you, or what gives you the ability to have authority in this world, within yourself, within your family, within your relationships, within society, within the community? That's called Malchut. Malchut is your ability to influence. Hashem made it that that part of you is only accessible to you once you don't believe it comes from you. As soon as you realize that your ability to influence and your desire to influence is only in order to bring people good, to bring people close to Hashem, then Hashem unlocks your Malchut. He gives you the ability to access your inner Malchut and to give it over to others. However, there's many people who are misusing that Malchut, that they're using influence not for the good, meaning not to connect people to their true self. It doesn't mean they're intentionally doing it. It doesn't mean they have bad intentions. Like Rav Nachman teaches earlier, it could simply be that their soul is in exile. And now what they're trying to do is fill up their broken vessels with broken lights. Meaning simply, they don't perceive reality in a true way. And because they don't perceive reality in a true way, what they do perceive is also false. And they keep reinforcing each other. Like, for example, if you go on the internet, let's say it was me like 10 years ago, okay? When I was an atheist, okay? So let's say I'm looking up Darwin's theory of evolution. Why am I looking that up? Because I already don't believe that there's any purpose to life. And I've already learned, and according to my mind, or what's in my mind, that everything that's happening right now is just the result of this process called evolution. So now what am I going to look up? What's the wisdom I'm going to look up to fill up my preconceived notions? The theory of evolution. Now I'm going to look more into that theory, and then it's going to reconfirm my own belief about evolution, that obviously this is all that there is. And then I'm going to look more for it. So what's happening is your own vessel, your own preconceived notions direct what wisdom you want to fill it in. And now you get that wisdom, and then it actually strengthens your false notions. And this can go back and forth for your whole life until you can't hear anyone or anything. And I know that firsthand, what that's like. However, for a Jew to be able to connect to Hashem, He needs to let go of all his preconceived notions about reality. And he needs to be humble and go wherever the truth takes him. And the only holder of the truth is the tzaddik. And I saw that there was a spark of a white flame at the top of the crest. Because the Yetzer Hara, when it comes to a Jew, listen to this, very important, he encloses himself within a mitzvah. What does that mean? He enclosed himself in a mitzvah. So it's taught in Chassidut and Kabbalah, a Jew's soul is the loftiest thing in creation. Loftier than the physical universe, loftier than all the spiritual universes. It has no connection at all to anything which is not pure godliness. What causes a Jew then, or the majority of the Jewish world, to not be doing anything that Hashem wants? And even within those people who feel that they are, even they themselves, maybe not doing what Hashem wants, even though they think they are. How does that happen? And the answer is that the Yetzer Hara is very tricky. It understands that the only way it can actually affect a Jew to do something which is not good for itself and not good for his family, not good for society, not good for his relationship with Hashem, is to make himself look like it's the right thing to do. Because every Jew only wants to do the right thing. And if he's not, it's simply because the Yetzer Hara has convinced him that whatever he's doing is the right thing. And that's very scary. Because that means that in truth, you can never actually know, seemingly, what is the right thing and what not to do. This is the meaning of the spark of the white flame, because it urges you to perform the mitzvah. Its whole thing is to try and entice you to perform the mitzvah that you feel is a mitzvah, whatever you think is the mitzvah. This is the white flame which is at the top of the crest of the wave. It's an eish lavana. The flame is white, achal piken malach mazikhu. But in truth, it's really a damaging malach, a damaging spiritual force, angel. So what is he saying here? We know in terms of Kabbalah that a white flame is actually referring to the highest spiritual entity, Reshit, Kedusha, something that is still a part of the Ein Sof, that's part of the infinite one. It is a very intense light, like Hashem says, I am a flaming fire. However, the Yetzer Hara makes himself look like that, and because he makes himself look like that, it causes you to follow through with it. So I'll give you a practical example. I was learning from my Rabbi, Rav Walken. His memory should be a blessing for everyone, and his neshama should have an aliyah. That on Shabbat, when you drink wine, in truth, the sages, for them, wine meant that it's not mevushal, it's not cooked. The fact that we can drink cooked wine was given to us to make sure that we don't make a mistake when, let's say, a non-Jew comes over or someone who doesn't keep mitzvot, and therefore they're not allowed to drink and touch the low mevushal wine. However, even though we're all, and according to the Shulchan Aruch, you can drink it and it's called wine, he said that in truth, the sages didn't really consider that wine. And therefore, lahatchila, if you can, it's better to have lo mevushal wine. So obviously, as soon as I heard this, someone who's trying to do the right thing, I got excited because I've been drinking Kedem grape juice for years. And I went to the wine store and I bought like a $50 bottle of lo mevushal wine. And I came back to the house so excited for Shabbat. And I put it in on the top over there, my little wine shelf with no wine in it because they never had wine. And I'm getting all excited for Shabbat and I can't wait. And all of a sudden it's about to be Kiddush time. And I take my wine bottle out with a huge smile on my face. And my wife says, "What is that?" I said, it's wine. She said, "Where's grape juice?" I said, so this is the thing. And as soon as I say that, my wife already knows. I learned something new in yeshiva. I learned something new on my own. I came back, now I want to implement it. I'm the crazy fanatic Jew who like is a Baal Tshuva and like he hears everything and he starts to do it right away. And my wife grew up religious, so she never heard of such a thing. She's been doing grape juice her whole life. So all of a sudden her face just sinks. And I already know where this is going. And she said, "David, listen to me. I've been drinking grape juice my whole life." And it's fine. It's definitely fine. I said, I know it's fine. It is fine. You're right, it's fine. But I learned today that it's better if you, and I just see this is going to devolve into a very, very not shalom bayit type of situation. So if this was me, before I learned the first Torah of Likutey Moharan, I would have forced my family to drink that wine because this is what the sages want. That's the mitzvah. But I said to myself, Hashem, Rabbi Nachman teaches that the Yetzer Hara clothes itself in a mitzvah. And even though it might be a mitzvah to have this lo mavushal wine, it's a bigger mitzvah to have shalom bayit on Shabbat. And I said to my wife, even though I spent the money, even though I thought about it all day and I was excited to do it with the lo mavushal wine, even though I knew this was going to be a huge waste of money and all my excitement was going to go out the door, I said, "Sweetie, you're right." I don't know what I was thinking. And I went to go put the wine back and go get my Kedem grape juice. And we're coming back. And she says to me, which she doesn't usually do, it's usually that's the end, that's how it works. She said to me, "You know what, David? You already bought the wine, let's just drink the wine." And I got so excited. I said, "I got you. You Yetzer Hara clothed in a mitzvah. I got you, and now Hashem's giving it to me." But then I said to myself, you know what? Maybe this is also the Yetzer Hara clothed in a mitzvah. Maybe my wife really doesn't want me to drink this, and this is like this is my next level, my next madrega. So I said, "Sweetie, we're drinking the grape juice. That's it. You like grape juice. It's Shabbat. I want you to be happy. We're not drinking this. Don't ask me about it again. I'm putting this wine away." She said, "David, we're drinking the wine." And that was it. Thank God. Baruch Hashem. But what's the point? The point is like this. Reb Nachman says that there is the truth and there's the truth of truths. The truth is, it's a mitzvah to have lo mavushal wine if you can. But the truth of truths is that your wife and your family should be happy on Shabbat, and it's more important than anything. So, what type of wine does it sound very good? We'll answer questions at the end. Anyway, the point is, how do you know when to tell the difference? How do you know? The answer is with humility to your Rebbe, with humility to your tzaddik, to learn his teachings every day, to accustom yourself to those teachings, to understand what's important, and to understand what's really important. Because the Yetzer Hara is going to do whatever it takes to make you lose your divinity, to make you lose and get knocked off your godliness. Now, for a person like me, let's say 6 years ago, when I was first becoming Bali Tshuva, that meant going to the club with a kippah on, right? So I didn't know that that was an issue. I just was excited to finally have my kippah on. And I had secular Jews coming up to me and telling me, you know, by the way, you can't wear that here. And I'm like, what do you mean? You don't even have a kippah on. and they said to me, yeah, but this is mama's desecration of Hashem. I said, what are you doing at the club then? Anyway, so that was then. But now you have years later that I leave my job and now I'm learning in Kollel, thank God. And I'm learning the mitzvot and I'm learning the Torah. So he's not going to get me by telling me you should go to the club with a kippah on your head, because that's never going to work. So what does he do? He gives me a mitzvah which looks like a more important mitzvah than peace in my home on Shabbat. And that's a very dangerous situation, because it's very important to be happy on Shabbat. Rav Nachman says no matter what, you need to be happy on Shabbat. Your family needs to be happy on Shabbat. There is no matter what. Even if, no matter what happens, you have to be happy on Shabbat. So if I didn't know that, then I would have fought for that wine. And that would have been a big mistake. So we're seeing here that the Yetzer Hara will do anything to take away peace within yourself, to take away peace within your relationship with your wife and with your family, to make you feel bad about yourself, to make you feel low, to make you feel confused, to make you feel angry and sad. Whatever it takes. And everybody, it depends on you. It depends on where you're holding. It depends on what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. But he is relentless, and that's the point that Rabbi Nachman is trying to bring out. So the question is, how do we combat him? Because it sounds like he's much smarter and wiser and stronger and relentless than us. We have to beat him with a stick that says Eker Asher Eker. What's the stick? Because the essential weapon that you have against the Yetzer Hara, what is it that humbles the Yetzer Hara? What is it that nullifies your ego? It is only through the Torah. Shehi kula shemotav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because it's filled with the names of Hashem. So the Zohar says that in truth, even though the Torah looks like stories and mitzvot and different situations and sequences that we can learn from, in its essence, it is only different names of Hashem, one long name of Hashem. So just as a practical example, just to kind of conceptualize what that even means, there are times in the Torah where it says, Mi Ela, who is this? And you can, if you know enough, you can take those letters and flip it around and it says Elokim within those two letters. So you see really these two statements, Mi Ela, who is this, is really another name of Hashem. And a person who knows enough can do this with the entire Torah. So what is it about the Torah that allows you to nullify the ego, the Yetzer Hara? It is with the names of Hashem. So even though you know it or you don't know it, the Torah is all names of Hashem. Like it said with Moshe Rabbeinu, that when he killed the Mitzri, and in the Torah, whenever it's talking about a Mitzri, in a deeper level, it's speaking about the ego. And Moshe is your divine soul. So Moshe beats the Mitzri. How does he do it? So it says that he actually used Hashem's name. That's what Rashi says. Meaning the Torah. Because only the Torah subdues the Mitzri, your ego, the thing that's blocking you from being close to Hashem, from knowing what to do. And the Torah is the concept of the letter Vav. Within Hashem's name, you have Yud Kei Vav Kei. So the Yud usually represents the esoteric wisdom of Torah, Kabbalah. The Hey usually represents the more intellectual aspect of learning, let's say Gemara, or we could say Teshuvah. Okay, let's just say Tshuva. Then you have the Vav, and the Vav is corresponding to the Torah, the written Torah. And then the Hey is corresponding to the oral Torah or to Tefillah, or Amunah. So we're saying right now, but the way to get your prayers answered, which is really the letter Hey of Hashem's name, is only first to subdue your ego, which you can only do with the Vav. The Vav is the Torah, and the Vav is the tzaddik who teaches the Torah. Like we just learned before, that Yaakov represents the first Vav in the letter Vav, and Yosef, the tzaddik who teaches Yaakov, who gives it over to the Jewish people, he represents the small Vav. Meaning the tzaddik in his Torah is the key to nullifying your ego. And that's the letter Vav. Ki haluchot arkan Vav rachban Vav. Because it says in the Gemara and Bava Batra that what was the dimensions of the Luchot, the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu brought down from Har Sinai? It was 6 by 6. So what is Rav Nachman trying to bring down? The reason it's 6 by 6 It's because it's all alluding to the fact that the Torah is connected to this letter Vav, which is the gematria of 6. And not only that, because what's the shape of the letter Vav? It's a stick. So Rav Nachman's trying to teach this deep, deep story of Rabbi Baruch that for thousands of years, for some reason and somehow nobody knew what this meant. And Rabbi Nachman comes 2,000 years later and he explains it's all a mashal to getting your prayers answered, what's getting in the way, and how to break the thing that's getting in the way. That your essence is humility. That's the nun, that's the ship. It's coming, and the wave, your Yetzer Hara, which looks like it's a mitzvah, which is trying to convince you to do the right thing, and really it is the cause of your demise, is coming after you. What do you have to do in order to nullify him? You have to beat him with a stick. What is the stick? It's a letter Vav. What is the letter Vav? It's the mentions of the Torah. So the stick is the Torah. And the stick is the Torah, which is taught by the tzaddik. It's both. Because the tzaddik's Torah is only the letters and the names of Hashem. It's pure godliness. And whenever you put darkness in the face of light, darkness completely is nullified. And the Torah is the light of Hashem. That's why the root of the word Torah is or in Aramaic they call it oraita, because it's the light of the Ein Sof. That's all constricted within the Torah. But your ability to access the light of the Torah is dependent on Yosef teaching it to you. And not only that Yosef is teaching it to you, but that we nullify ourselves to Yosef. That we are humble enough to experience the Torah that the tzaddik is giving over and the advice he gives you to try and experience the light that's within the Torah. Because it's not enough for you to simply learn it on your own. And it's not enough for you to simply have any rabbi. You need Yosef. Because Yosef is the Reshit. Yosef is holding in the place that he is completely one with Hashem. And he has no sense of self at all at that point. He is only for the Jewish people, he's only for the Torah, and he's only for Hashem. He has no sense of self. And because of that, which is only really able to be obtained by one person in every generation, and that is the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu, who continues to be reincarnated every Jubilee. So he is the only one who's truthfully able to give you the Torah in a way that you can completely break and smash your Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer Hara is so tricky. And it goes even deeper. Why? Because the color white, which represents the highest level of Kedusha in Kabbalah, it's also the name of the trickiest person in the Torah. His name was Lavan. His name was white. And in fact, my Rabbi, Rav Walken, he used to say, what a kanav. Because the Gemara and the Midrash say that he was actually black. Meaning his skin was black and he called himself white. That's how big of a liar he was. And he had you convinced that he was white even though he was black. By the way, it's no problem to be black. We love, but we're just saying that he himself was black and he was saying he was white. That he said, my name is Lavan. He wasn't though, he was black. And this is the whole point of Lavan. Lavan will make himself look like the greatest thing you can do, and it's the cause of all the destruction in your life. And this is so fundamental and so important because it's saying that any Jew, even if you're the nicest guy in the world, even if you have the best intentions in the world, if you are not receiving your Torah from a real tzaddik on the level of Yosef, and you're not humble, and you're not willing to accept his advice and his guidance, then what you think is Torah is really the Yetzer Hara, and he's killing you. So whether you are secular, and he doesn't have to try so hard to get you, and he doesn't even have to clothe himself in a mitzvah, or, Bezrat Hashem, you become Baal Tshuva, or you're already religious, and then he knows the only way to do it is to clothe himself in mitzvot. And by the way, the higher you get spiritually, the more dangerous that gets, because the more influence that you have, and you're doing it in the name of Hashem now. So therefore, it becomes even more incumbent on a person who's trying to grow spiritually that he makes sure that he is connected to the real deal, to the real thing, because he and his family and his community and the world is dependent on it, okay? In other words, Hayenu Shatorah Kadosha Hi Machnia et Yetzahar Shirotze Lasot et Adam Meshuga Mamash. In other words, the Torah subdues the Yetzahara, which wants to literally drive a person insane. Mamash. This is such an important thing he's saying right now. Because even though this goes against the entire mental health community and all the research that we have, Rabbi Nachman is teaching us the reason why people have issues in psychological disorder is because the Yetzer Hara will do anything to drive a Jew insane. And Rav Natan says the only reason that we have as little mental health issues as we do, even though it's so much, and obviously in our generation it's the most it's ever been, he says only because of Hashem's unbelievable rachamim for us. That even though on paper we should all have mental health issues, he doesn't cause that for everybody because he loves us so much and he wants us to be able to find our way out. That is a crazy statement. That is crazy. But I've experienced this in my life in such a deep way. How a good person, a person who wants the best for himself and for others, can literally be driven insane to the point of not being connected to anything good and not wanting anything good and losing all hope and feeling that they're worthless and all from what? That the Yetzer Hara wants to drive a person insane. And therefore how important it is that you have Torah and a tzaddik who can give you that Torah to make sure that you can figure out what is that wave that's trying to sink you every day. Because if you don't know, he's sinking you. And if you think he's not sinking you, so look again, because he's sinking you. And the Baal Tanya says very clearly that the beginning of a Jew's ability to reveal his godly soul, he first needs to know that he's at war every day. You first need to know as soon as you get up, you have something that's trying to get you. And if you don't realize that, so he's pummeling you. Like it says here, Ein Adam over vera elim ken nichnas baruch shtut. The Gemara says a Jew doesn't do an avera, something that Hashem doesn't want, unless he has a ruach shtut, a spirit of foolishness. What is that? That means that his Yetzer Hara has convinced him that what he's doing is a mitzvah. Whether you're a secular Jew and you're fighting to give away land to Palestine, or you're a religious Jew and you're hating secular Jews because they don't know anything about Judaism and you think they're doing it because they don't want the responsibility of the mitzvot, and literally they don't even know what Shabbat or Tefillin is. Whatever it is for you, everyone has their own Yetzer Hara clothed in a mitzvah, and it's causing you to do something Hashem does not want, such as hating other Jews, chas v'shalom, such as trying to actually be the cause of the demise of the Jewish people. Whatever it is, we all have our Yetzer Hara, wherever you're holding. And therefore, just as the insane must be struck and have holy names placed on them, so what is he talking about here? The Rambam brings down in Halacha, you have a person who is mentally unstable, okay? And because of his mental instability, he's not following through with something Hashem wants him to do, which is so important for him. And he's actually only doing it because he's not well, not because he doesn't want to. So the Rambam says there, according to Halacha, you need to beat him with a stick. You need to beat him until he comes to his senses and does it. Now that sounds very archaic, and that sounds very grotesque. That sounds very brutal, at least for a secular Ashkenazi Jew like me who grew up in Western civilization, at least. But he's pointing to a very deep thing, which is that what's causing the person to not want to do something that's good for him is because there is a ruach of insanity which has overcome him. That's a very deep thing. Someone said, don't worry, my mom beat me with this thing. Okay. Okay, good to know. Thank you. So that's very scary. That means that you see any Jew in the world, and any Jew who's doing something that's not good for himself or not good for others, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of them in your life, it's only because the Yetzer Hara has literally convinced them that whatever they're doing is mitzvot, that they're doing only the right thing. And therefore, it makes sense why later on Rav Nachman says, even if a Jew is a Rasha Gamor, even if he's the worst person you've ever seen in your entire life, you have to judge him favorably. Why? Because Ruach Shtut. There's something which is causing him that his boat has been sunk underwater, and he doesn't know who he is at all. And what he's doing, he thinks is really a mitzvah. Because there's no way for a Jewish soul to do anything it doesn't think is the right thing to do. And therefore, mamash, literally the Torah, which you're busy with, that is the stick and the name. That it enters and it subdues the Yetzer Hara, and it dispels it, it exiles it from man. Meaning it takes that insanity, that thing that would ever cause a person not to want good in his life, not to be connected, not to feel faith, not to feel love, not to feel truth, not to have peace in his life, not to do good. It dispels it. Like it says, we beat it with the name Eker Asher Eker. And I just want to say one thing here. Why that name? You'll notice that's the name that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu when Moshe took the Jewish people out of exile. Now, even though that was a true story that did happen, the Jews were in Mitzrayim, they were enslaved there for 210 years, and they had to be taken out by a person who did. It's also alluding to a deep spiritual, psychological phenomenon which is occurring with a Jew every single day. That being that we are all called Bnei Yisrael. Every single one of us is called the children of Israel. And you have a tzaddik who's constantly trying to take you out of that place. And his name is Moshe. And whether you know it or you don't know it, Moshe's whole life is consumed with trying to bring the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim, meaning to nullify their ego. Because Mitzrayim is a code word in the Torah for your Yetzer Hara, for your ego. How does Moshe get them out of Mitzrayim? He says to Hashem, Hashem, what should I tell him? To tell my name is Eker Asher Eker. So in Kabbalah, this refers to the highest sphere, which is called Keter. Now, on a simple level, what does I will be, what I will be mean? So we know that Keter existed before creation. This highest sphere within the Sefirot is actually a pre-creation state of reality. That before Hashem created anything, not just the physical world, but anything, is just Hashem. That's called the light of the Ein Sof, that's called Keter. And there Hashem is saying, even though you're not going to understand, the best name I can give you is called I will be what I will be. Meaning, I am not yet anything, because it's just me. But I will be what I will be. And that part of me, the Jewish people have been a part of that since before creation. And therefore, you're not destined to be slaves forever. You're not destined to suffer forever. Why? Because you're a part of the whole reason I created the entire universe was just so that I can be close to you. I will be what I will be. Now, it's taught in a deeper way and something that we can grasp more. What does it mean? And this is so fundamental to Rabbi Nachman's Torah and everything he's trying to teach you. Why is it that you feel that you have to do 75% of what you need to do in your life and you give up 25% to Hashem? And why is it that somebody else you see, he seems to be relying on Hashem completely and somehow he's able to get by? And the answer is, I will be what you allow me to be. That what Hashem told Moshe, that the Jewish people were in the land of Mitzrayim, meaning they were in the land of nature. They were in the mindset that everything was nature and happenstance and coincidence, just like the majority of the Jewish world today. And even within the religious Jewish world, that they think that everything is just happening. That's called being in the land of Mitzrayim. How do you leave there? When Moshe, the tzaddik, brings you the Torah, and the Torah specifically has the name Eker Asher Eker, do you know why you guys are enslaved in Mitzrayim? Because Hashem will be whatever you allow him to be. To this point, Hashem has been for you a God that just exists. And you have been a slave to Paro, to your ego, to negativity in your life for 210 years. But you don't have to be a slave. You have to believe in Hashem completely. When you have emunah shlema, when you have complete emunah and you are relying on Hashem completely for everything in your life, you're not going to be a slave anymore. You are going to leave this place called Mitzrayim and you're going to go to Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, which Hashem has pre-marked for you since even before the world was created. And that's the land of freedom. That's the land of Cherut. To the degree that you believe in Hashem, to that degree He will be for you. And therefore, what did the Jewish people do? They finally cried out to Hashem and they all screamed, Hashem, we can't take it anymore, take us out of here. Why didn't they do that until then? Because they didn't know that Hashem could be that for them. That Moshe had to come to Mitzrayim, that Tzaddik had to come and to teach all of us. Hashem doesn't just have to be a God to you that exists somewhere in your life. But then when you go to work and when you're in your relationships and when you're in all the different situations in your life, that Hashem is, so to speak, just like floating in reality for you and you're just living your life. Hashem can be that for you, but He doesn't have to be that alone for you. Hashem can be whatever you allow Him to be. If you want to see Hashem in everything in your life, and you don't want to be a slave anymore to Yetzer Hara, and you don't want to fall anymore to him, and you don't want to experience sadness anymore, you don't want to experience anger anymore, you don't want to have issues in your relationships, you want to have peace and happiness and joy and connection in your life, you want to be happy, you can leave this place called Mitzrayim. You simply have to believe in Hashem as much as that requires, which is complete belief. And the Jewish people did that, and then we left. Eker Asher Eker, but only the tzaddik can teach you that. Only through the tzaddik's Torah, only through his advice, only through his wisdom, can you ever get to the point that you truly believe that Hashem can do 100% everything for you, and He wants to. And this is the original pasuk in the Torah. And we go all the way back to the beginning and finish this masterpiece with Hashem's help and love and empathy for us, that He allowed us to do this together. The pasuk says, Ashrei tamimei derech. Happy is a person who's simple. Not just that he's perfect. Why is he perfect? He's perfect because he's simple. What does it mean to be simple? Humble. Happy is a person who knows everything comes from Hashem. Lashon histaklut. Because Ashrei comes from the Lashon, sure, which in Aramaic means gaze, to be able to see Hashem in everything. Who is a person who could see Hashem in everything? Only a person who knows everything comes from Hashem. Who's humble enough to admit that he doesn't know why everything is going on in his life. And that he doesn't control the events in his life. Only Hashem does. And that person is now able to look for the Chokhmah and everything. He can see Hashem in everything in his life. Tamimei derech. And then his way becomes perfect. Like it said, Yaakov ish tam, which usually they translate as he was a perfect man. But tam literally means simple. He was a simple man. Why was Yaakov able to see Hashem in everything in his life, which was his superpower, which is every Jew's superpower, which is our whole redemption is dependent on this, not just globally, but individually. Your redemption from all your troubles in your life come from being able to see Hashem in everything. How do you do that? You have to be like Yaakov. You have to be an ish tam. That means you have to be simple. To be simple does not mean to be stupid. It means to be brilliant. But how do you attain brilliance within divinity, within godliness? It's by completely nullifying your preconceived notions about your life and having faith that Hashem is the one who's causing everything, and He only wants the best for you, and He's only doing everything because He loves you so much. That's called being simple. To live with that. Shehu b'chinat haseichel. That is real wisdom. Like we say, chonein da'at, that Hashem gives you da'at. The da'at is, the knowledge is that Hashem is the cause of everything. That's the wisdom that you're trying to obtain. This God consciousness, this da'at that's going to sweep over the world like water covers over the sea, that's what Mashiach is going to bring to us. What is the essence of that knowledge? The knowledge that everything is really Hashem. That's the knowledge. Who is able to see that? A person who has completely nullified his ego. And who is able to do that? HaChochim b'Torat Hashem. Only a person who's learning Torah b'koach. A person who's walking in Hashem's Torah. Ki ha'yodeh shelo mei Torah b'koach. Because the person who's learning Torah b'koach, with enthusiasm, with joy, with energy, even when it's difficult, even when he doesn't want to, through being humble, through nullifying himself to the tzaddik who knows more, through this, you're able to reveal your inner essence you've been searching for your whole life. Your malchut de kedusha, your ability to receive the light of godliness in your life, the light of peace, the light of truth, the light of parnasa, the light of blessing, the light of all that's good, which is from the letter Nun. This is your kingship, your letter Nun, like the moon that has nothing of its own. How do you get to a point that you could be so receptive to be like a moon that has nothing of its own, that you have no ego anymore? Only by toiling in the Torah of Hashem, in the Torah of the tzaddik, and having simple faith that this is what Hashem wants from you. Through this, you become a vessel for all the light of Hashem. To be able to receive this seichel, this knowledge that really everything is really only Hashem, and therefore everything is good. This is the concept of the letter Chet. And then a person is able to have chen, meaning his words have grace, and then every prayer he asks for is answered. Because Hashem wants to answer all your prayers. He created you just so He can answer all your prayers. So why are your prayers not being answered? Because we don't have chen, we don't have grace. Meaning, we are not humble, and because we're not humble, we can't see Hashem in anything in our life. And when you don't have those two things, you can't pray from a place of truth. And if you can't pray from a place of truth, you can't get your prayers answered, because it wouldn't be good for you if you did. But then when you learn Torah b'koach, that you learn the Torah of the tzaddik, that you're steiging in it every day, that you're doing your best to nullify yourself to this wisdom and this understanding and this advice that's much greater than you can possibly imagine. It's only for your benefit. Then your essence is revealed. Then you have your vessel to receive all of the light of godliness in the world. And then every single one of your prayers is answered. Every single one. This is the first Torah of the Likutey Moharan. This Torah is the greatest thing in the world. And I'm going to say that after every Torah that we learn. And my chavruta always jokes with me about how every single time we learn a new Torah, because I got him very into Likutey Moharan, Baruch Hashem. He says, David, every single time we start a new Torah, you said, this is the greatest Torah ever. This is the most important thing. It is. It all is. It all is. It's all the names of Hashem. It's all the light of the Ein Sof, which Rabbi Nachman has enclosed over 1,000,000 times over. So simple people like us could be able to not only understand it, but use it in our life to experience only good, only happiness, only peace, only love, only truth, only unity. Everything you've been looking for in your life. Rabbi Nachman says, what's the key? Be an ish tam, be simple. To be simple does not mean to be ignorant. To be simple means stop thinking you control anything in your life. You don't. Let it go. Hashem does. And He's great. And He loves you. And He wants to take care of you. And He wants to give you all the good. He loves you more than you can possibly imagine. Give it all up to Him. What does that mean? When I wake up in the morning, I know when I come outside and my kids are screaming, it's because Hashem wants them to. It's not your fault. And then if your wife is like, why didn't you clean the dishes last night when I asked you to? Because you forgot. You didn't forget because there's something wrong with you. You forgot because Hashem wanted you to forget. And now it doesn't mean that you're free of it. You now have to go to your bodedut and ask Hashem to help you remember, to help your wife clean the dishes or whatever she asked you to do. But stop thinking that you're the problem in your life. You're not the problem in your life. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a good person. You have a soul which is literally a piece of godliness. Stop demonizing yourself. Accept the fact that Hashem is controlling the world. As soon as you accept that, you're in Ishtam. And when you're in Ishtam, then you're able to gaze and you're able to see only good in the world and only good in everyone around you and only good in yourself. And how do you do that? By walking in the Torah of Hashem, by learning Torah with enthusiasm, with strength, with energy, with conviction, and with commitment, and that you're doing it from a real tzaddik. Any questions about the past 3 weeks that we worked on this? Yeah, Eliyahu, go ahead. Oh, you're leaving. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thank you for being with us for these 3 weeks. Any questions from what we've been working on for almost a month?
Hi, Rabbi David.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
I don't know, this might not be on the 3 week topics, but maybe it has something to do with what you're teaching. Maybe you can help me out a little bit.
Do you mind, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Do you mind holding it until we ask questions about the lesson, and then Bezrat Hashem, if we have time after, I'll come back to it. I just want to make sure. The reason I say that is because many times with these Torahs and with Torah in general, you can be so inspired and so excited and think that that's it. That's not it. Now, Rabbi Nachman and Hashem gave you this Torah. It's your job now to live with this for the rest of your life. To literally every day of your life trying to bring into your heart, into your mind, into your actions, into your relationships, what we just learned for 3 weeks. So therefore, it's really about relation. 1 second. And therefore, it's very important that the questions that everyone asks or tries to ask has to do with how can I actually implement this in my life, okay? Once we have those questions, then I will come back to you and you can ask me whatever you want, okay?
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you so much.
No
Any
problem.
questions?
I have a question. First time listener. It's about the Moharan, which I get confused because I just get confused a lot about Moharan. But he's talking about how you use your nose to pray. Could you explain that to me?
Sorry, say that one more time. I can't hear you so well.
In one of the Morans, he says, use a sword in your nose to pray. How do you use your nose?
I'm sorry, I don't hear you. Maybe you can text it in to the chat.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. Any other questions while he's typing in? Should I ask a question?
I have a quick question to you.
Go ahead.
When we're doing Kibudut and we're
Yes.
praying to Hashem, should we be talking to also mention Rabbi Nachman's teachings and asking to talking like almost on Rabbi Nachman's on behalf of him that they should answer our prayers? Is there any way we should be mentioning him and davening so we can understand? Like, I know we have to understand the Torah.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Every single time that you come to pray, every time that I come to pray, I say to Hashem, please connect me to all the true tzaddikim who are alive today, all the true tzaddikim who are interred in the earth, and to the tzaddik Yesod Olam, Rabbi Nachman ben Feiga. I do this when I pray Mincha, when I pray Shachrit, when I pray Arvit. I often do this even before I teach you guys. I do it before I learn. I do it before I do Ibodadut. We're not in the lesson yet where we're discussing why that's important, but the answer to the question is yes, for sure. Because, so to speak, just on a very simple level, when you attach yourself to a tzaddik, then you are open to whatever he has obtained. and whatever he's giving over. And therefore, because Rabbi Nachman, who reached the highest levels of physical and spiritual mastery, so therefore, when you attach yourself to him, even just in words, to say I'm attaching myself to my Rebbe, to my tzaddik. So what happens is, so to speak, you get like his VIP card. You know, like sometimes like chas v'shalom, you went to a club or something. Not that I know anything about that. But let's say you go to a club, and some people, they have VIP cards, and they get to go into that room that like is like the cool room, and everybody wants to go there, but you don't know how to get there. And those people like seemingly have a lot of money, and they dress very interestingly. So that ability to get into the VIP room, so to speak, with Hashem, is dependent on you being a tzaddik on that level, which 99.9% of us are not. And therefore, Rabbi Nachman teaches that a way to get into that room is to simply attach yourself to the one who is. And then Hashem counts it for you as if you are as well. So we're going to speak more about this actually in the next Torah. On Monday, we're going to start Torah Bet, which actually, according to tradition, is a continuation of this one, even though it seemingly is very different. And that's a very important Torah as well, and very fundamental, and you should definitely come Monday to hear that. But we're going to speak more about attachment to a tzaddik in that Torah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I'm looking at yeah, yes.
Get hit with the stick and you're good.
What's that?
Basically, you gotta get hit with the stick and you're good.
You have to hit him with the stick. That's right. What type? Okay, 1 second.
They're referring to
First time listening. 1 second. I'm just reading the question. First time listening, but learn one in Likutey Moharan, part 3. You should use your nose to pray. Okay. So when we get to that Torah, I'll try to explain that. Okay. We're going in order right now. So we just finished the first Torah. That's too complex and intricate of an idea to give over right now in 1 minute. So I prefer to just wait till we get there. So I hope that you enjoyed the class. And I would love to speak about it, but I want to do it justice. So please just wait and continue to watch the classes. We're going to start the second Torah. What you just asked me is actually coming up in the next Torah that we're learning. So please wait until then. And hopefully you'll enjoy and watch and you'll have from it.
Rabbi, just to the lesson, we said we have to learn with enthusiasm, with happiness, and we utter the words. Since we're listening to you, we're not really pronouncing any words, we're just listening. Does that have an effect as great as me reading or saying to myself, or any sorts of explanation as I'm doing with you?
Yes. So hopefully, Bezrat Hashem is helping me to teach the koach, and those words that are leaving my mouth are hopefully entering into your heart. And that's what I pray for every day. You know, every single day when I do my bodedut, I pray to Hashem that there should be nothing of me there in the class, and everything should be Hashem and Rabbi Nachman's words, and just to make me into like the moon, you know, to have nothing of my own, and just to try and help and to give over whatever everybody needs to hear. And included in that is that those words, that I'm trying to be as honest and faithful to what Rabbi Nachman teaches as possible, and through that, those words are hopefully striking your heart and breaking the skins which are surrounding it.
Definitely is. Thank you so much.
And obviously, when you're on your own, or let's say you learn Chavruta, hopefully, you know, you get to a point that this isn't the only Rabbi Nachman learning Seder you have during the day. Obviously, it's great that you say it out loud, but that's with everything, with all Torah. Whenever you're learning anything, even if you're learning Gemara, even if you're learning Zohar and you have no idea what you're reading, say those words out loud, because even though you don't know, your soul knows. Okay, so it's very important when you say Torah over that those words should come out loud and with happiness and joy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I don't know who this is, but Roberts, you had a question you wanted to ask me? You didn't know if it was connected?
That was me.
No, there was someone else, actually.
Yeah, I
No?
think that was me. That was me.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I kind of actually don't want to ask it anymore. So thank you for stopping me originally.
Are you sure? I didn't mean to discourage you.
No, it's just that I don't think, I don't know. I'm kind of like embarrassed to say it in front of everybody. That's the thing.
I got you. Okay, so you can always email me.
And it
Right.
doesn't really have to do with me. As somebody like one of my relatives that I want to help out, just wanted to ask you for help, but I don't want to say it in front of everybody.
Okay, no problem. So listen, my email is rabbikalmus@gmail.com. You can definitely, and I encourage you to email me, and I'll do my best to try and answer you. But the main thing is with anything, and this is a very important lesson for all of us, whenever you have a question about anything, ask Hashem. Okay? And therefore, even if you're not right about the decision you make, you will be right because you asked Hashem to help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I got you.
Rob David.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make a remark about somebody asked a few questions ago, like, can you include Rav Nachman in your prayers and his teachings? So you said yes, but just to amplify that, his student Rav Natan made a whole book out of this called Likutey Tfilot, right? That they translated to. So that is not good. That is like what we strive for.
So Abraham, yeah, I actually thought that he meant in terms of saying about attachment, not about turning the Torah into tefillah, but for sure, 100%, if that's what he meant.
That's also there. That's like it's also there.
What I meant was when I'm davening and I'm saying, Rabbi Nachman, can you daven for us? Can you pray for us? Allow me to change my character trait. Help me, daven for me. I'm using him as a connection to get to Ribono Shalom, to Hashem. Is that the right way of doing it?
So for number one, everything is Hashem, okay? So don't ever lose sight of that, okay? Now, Rabbi Nachman, for sure, if you're learning his Torah and you're trying to bring it to your life, he is your greatest advocate up there. And he is going to go through all the spiritual worlds to lift you out of whatever you're going through. And you can definitely say, please, Rabbeinu, advocate for me up there. That's fine. But know that Hashem is the one who's causing whatever is taking place to you. And therefore, just to know the distinction is very important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So definitely, just on our behalf, your zchut, we don't have any zchut here, but on your zchut, we could answer.
Yes, 100%. You should say in his zchut, 100%.
Yes. I actually asked one of the Gdolei Breslev, one of the students of the Gdolim, is very good friends with Rav Aush, Rav Ofer Erez, a lot of people know, and we asked him this question a few years ago. A specific thing, if like this, because there's a whole idolatry if you're not doing avodah zarah, praying to the tzaddik and asking from the tzaddik. And there's a siman actually in Erev Rosh Hashanah that you go to the graves of tzaddikim and you daven, and the whole Mishnah Brura says you cannot like pray straight to the tzaddik. You're just asking Hashem through the merit of the tzaddik.
Right.
So he said you need to make a declaration. It says like, Hashem, I know everything is from you. You control everything. It's not I'm davening to the tzaddik, not whatever. I'm just saying he has a bigger merit than me. I can advocate, move things faster. So this is basically just as long as you have that in mind, because it was a very big question, especially with Breslev, thinking like we're idolatry and apparently make Rav Nachman to an idol. So that's totally not true. It's just he's like Splinter, the Ninja Turtles. So he knows the swamp, not the swamp, the gutters. He knows it much better than us. He's been there. He knows the
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga. So for the pop culture.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you, everybody.
So anyway, thank you, everybody. This has been 3 weeks of serious learning of Chassidut. You should all be very proud of yourself. And on Shabbat, you should thank Hashem that Hashem gave us the zchut, that we were all able to learn the Likutey Moharan together for the first time as a Steam Breslev project organization. And these teachings are able to hopefully get out to a lot of people and to try and help a lot of people and to try and bring them close to their true self and to make you vessels to be able to get all your prayers answered, because Hashem wants to. He really, really desperately wants to answer all your prayers. He just wants it to be good for you. And Rabbeinu is the key to doing that, okay? Everybody, thank you so much. Have a Shabbat Shalom. Truly an amazing, happy, peaceful, loving, and connected Shabbat. And that we take this last week until we receive the Torah anew to work on talking to Hashem about everything. Sunday night, we have the final Sfirat HaOmer class on Malchut. So nothing more needs to be said. It's going to be Rabbi Nachman and Amuna all day long, okay? So a very important lesson. Please be there Sunday night. It's for men and women, so tell anybody that you know. And then hopefully this will get us in the right mode to start the second Torah in Likutey Moharan next week and to go into Shavuot and Bezrat Hashem. It should not just be a commemoration of when Moshe brought it down, but that Moshe Mashiach himself should actually bring it down for us again. And we should all be vessels to receive it. Okay? Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.